Welcome back to Rock and Rattle Retreat. We left off on the solar project about here. Well, at least the outside part of it. That's basically on the right hand side a little bit where the solar panels are going to get set up. As you can tell, hey, maybe you can't. Right about in the center there's a lot of rock. That's one reason we're going to do it this way. And now we got green. Look at all those lovely rocks down there. Okay, so we're not digging in to put in posts. We are going to be using Gambion baskets. Now, we got these off of Amazon. No affiliation. Nobody gave us anything. Nobody paying us anything for these. We bought everything. We found cubic yard Gambion baskets. So each cube is a yard worth. And if you do the math, a yard of rock, which you fill it with, is about a ton. And there's 3 full cubes in each box. Now, we're going to put some together here. Kind of show you what's going on. This is how it came from Amazon. There's instructions down there that fell out. And they have these things all wired together.
More cardboard. Yep. More pieces of plastic.
So we are not going to create 3 cubes together. First we have to get these separated. So we need little clippers to separate them. Because there's little wires holding all this together. And if you went through and tried to untwist all these wires, it would take forever and my fingers would hurt. So we're going to clip all the wires apart and get this stuff separated. And in the center is some what are we going to call them? They hold them together at the end. We'll show you that later. And then you got these spirals that's actually used to put the pieces together. Sort of like screw them together. Big giant spiral screws. So we take these and make a cube and put one of these spirals down the side of the cube to put them together in the center. So you got 1, 2, 3 pieces together to put that spiral around. And we're basically making 2 cubes together. And there's enough in the box to make 2 cubes. And here's the truck loaded down with all the extra pipe we brought from home. So reference, it's 2-inch Schedule 40 tubing, 75 pounds each one of those long pieces of pipe. So there's a lot of weight on that truck. And then the pieces we brought up before, which were welded at home, we're giving a coat of paint on the outside to stop some rust, at least slow it down some. And we got the supervisor checking on us. And here we go. We're taking 2 cubes of that Gambion basket. And that's at the end will weigh close to 4,000 pounds, a ton per cubic yard of rock we're going to put in these. So you take one of those L pieces, that's what we welded together at home, and put that through each upright at the bottom. So that actually goes through 3 pieces of the Gambion basket. And then we take the larger piece, not the full size, but this has a chopped side of 45 on it. and we are trying to get a 39-degree tilt on the panels. And if we did all our math correct and we get these actually leveled up correctly, we should have roughly 39 degrees when the panels finally get put on top of everything. So you got your tall side, you got your short side. We still need the rails that go between those two, but we got to get this welded together so we can get stuff on it. So since it is sitting on the wire basket, in the middle of that wire basket, it wasn't really flat on the concrete, so I'm raising this up to try to get them to be the same. Change into welding clothes. A lot of leather on a 90 degree day. That's roughly 32 Celsius, guys. It was hot and I'm sweating. And of course, I gotta be in leather for the welding. So we gotta make sure all this stuff is square and plumb, and the stuff moves around a little bit as we go. So trying to move it back to where it's supposed to be, decide it's moving too much, and I don't know if it's square or not anymore. Trying to get those 45s lined up. I think this would be easy. It's not. And the gloves don't help. And the heat doesn't help. We get the big square in here, see if we can get it squared up again so we can at least get it tacked together. Square enough. Make sure it doesn't move while I'm welding. As you can tell, the supervisor over there is very interested in what we're doing. Yeah, what I'm doing really. Get it tacked together. And then we check to see if it's plumb. So we get the square one side, square the other side, plumb, and put it down and weld. Next ones we do, we get the welding blanket out and shield it so the dog doesn't actually see what I'm doing, because I don't know how much of the weld she was looking at. The tough part is getting inside the basket and getting the inside corner welded. So up on the ladder, down and getting squished with 1 cubic yard of movement in there, trying to get it welded. Not an easy feat. And then it's hot. And then trying to get out. And running up this ladder with leather chaps on. And they get caught on things. And then after that, of course, there is a piece of rebar we welded between those two pieces and some U-bolts we put on, which I did not get any video of that stuff, but you'll see it in a little bit. Now, we're going to use the tractor because that little area we saw in the beginning of this video, we put some black plastic out, cut down some of the weeds, put plastic over the top of them, and now we're going to take the tractor and put some rock down on top of that. Make a little area where the weeds aren't going to come through that plastic, and kind of level it out a bit so we can put these baskets on there. And what I didn't realize when I set this up is the Insta360 can't actually see the bucket. So the bucket's over there in the rock pile. I'm trying to figure out how to set the tractor up to scoop rock up, put it in low, four-wheel drive, and scoop some rock up, and really can't see what it's doing. So the first load, I scoop some rock in, and there we go. We're gonna head off. At least it's gonna look like we're gonna head off here and go put some rock down on that plastic. But you're not actually going to see much of that because I don't actually have a view of the bucket from there. After many scoops and many travels back and forth, we can now see the bucket a little better. Another scoop of rock. And off we go. And I used about half of that pile. Still got to put some more out there. And here we go. I mean, this is not a short distance, but it's not, miles to go before we get there. If this is your first time here, we are building an off-grid house on top of a mountain. There is no electrical lines around. Our closest one is about 2-3 miles away. So the cost of doing that would be astronomical to bring it all the way up the mountain. And here we are at the place where we're going to put those baskets, putting a layer of rock down over top of plastic. As you can see at the back of the tractor, there's a big rock sitting there. The tractor cannot move that one. We're going to work around that one, and this is why we're going to use the Gambion baskets instead of trying to dig holes or drill holes to put tubing down in, concrete it. I mean, I took one of the tree stumps out here and it was just rock, big rock. So if I tried to dig it with the backhoe or a drill, it would be pulling out boulders, and we'd be putting in multiple bags of concrete for each post, and it'd be a mess. So we decided to use this as a way of holding down all these solar panels, and I think we have rock to put in those Gambion baskets to hold them down. Meanwhile, right now, trying to put enough rock down here to make a pad for those baskets. And of course I don't put enough down anyhow, but it's a good start. The wife is out here raking it sort of flat, and off to the right of this, just the screen over to the right, is some wild blueberries which we're trying to save. So that's why we don't have the baskets over to the right. We're putting to the left of these blueberries to try to save them. Hopefully we save them and we can pick them next year. And to the right of that is what we call our moat, which is a little garden space that we have rocks on both sides and put some soil down in to grow flowers and a little bit of garden. We are using a Kubota BX25. It's now another day, and I'm going to put these clamp-on forks on. But you can't do it because the bucket is on the ground and the forks won't fit underneath that. So start it up, lift up the bucket so we can get these forks on. These do come in handy once in a while. I mean, it cuts the lifting power down a lot, but they are handy for certain things. It kind of be nice to have a set of pallet forks to put on here without having to clamp them on to the bucket itself. But this is what I got. And we'll put you guys right here for a nice view. The other problem with this is I can't always see the tips of the forks or the forks themselves from the driver's seat. So out of the garage we go. And turn, 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 turn. Come on, turn. Do not put a hole in my siding. Okay. This is the rebar we put on there. As you can see, it's going up from the lower piece to the upper piece, and you can actually see the U-bolts sitting there in the baskets holding those uprights upright. Now I'm going to use the rebar to pick it up. Hopefully. The wife is directing me. A little low. Pick it up, pick it up. There we go. So we have painted everything. We did not paint the baskets themselves. That is galvanized wire. And I'll try to get this thing out without bringing other things with me or damaging the house itself. Luckily we have big garage doors over here, because that upper post is like 8 feet up in the air. And out of the garage we go. Whew, no damage. It's always a good day, no damage. But we're not done yet. Okay, and what you can't tell is how much that thing is swinging underneath. So it's going to be a long walk over to the area. Gotta go slow. And you say, how slow? Walking slow. The supervisor wants to make sure we're doing things correctly. As you can see it rocking there. And we get over here and place the basket. And of course the basket is backwards. We'll fix that later. Look at that thing rock. Ooh. And you see that rock wall over in front of us. That's why we're not going any further. That big ledge, that's like a 3-foot jump up, maybe 3.5-foot jump up from down here. So we're going to go from there all the way over towards the road. And you can see that rock sitting there in the middle. We're going to go around that. And you can see there's another rock in there, and then all the wood we've got piled up. That's all got to move. Okay, now you can see that rock a little closer. And we got the 3 baskets sitting here. That one's in the correct position at least. The supervisor wants to check it all out. And if you haven't figured out, that is Muffin, the supervisor. She is a rescue dog. We adopted her. We're still not sure whether she'll run off or not. She has her own little mind. She doesn't always want to come when she's called. And we got to turn these around. And the rebar bent just a little bit, bringing it over, but not bad. So the rebar is extra support to make sure these don't pull apart when we get everything on them. Turn these all around. As you can tell by the closest one we got sitting there, we need more rock in here to level them up. But before we level anything, we have 4 more baskets to make. Since you saw me make the one basket, I'm not showing the rest of them. We also have extra spirals. There's actually 5 extra spirals per box of Gambion baskets. In the Gambion baskets, we can create 2 of those cubes. So we decided to use the extra ones and put in for extra support on the lower pieces to connect the bottoms to the actual ends and middle. And then 2 down the sides of the middle. So we'll get those in. Get those other ones made, and there they are sitting there ready for the rest of them. Next time we'll have the rest of them sitting out there. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you want to keep track of this process to see how it turns out, and we'll see you later.